You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
What a beautiful day for horses in the morning.
You are listening to the #1 horse podcast in the world. Here's your entertaining look at the horse world and the people in it.
Well, I'm back, and it's Friday morning, and I am Glenn the Geek coming to you from Ocala, Florida.
I'm Jamie Jennings in Norman, Oklahoma, and you're listening to Horses in the Morning on the Horse Radio Network for Friday, August 9th, episode 34 and 94, brought to you today by Kentucky Performance Products. Good morning, Horse World.
It's Friday, and another weekend of riding is a few short hours away. Jamie and Glenn are here to help you make it through the day with some fun guests and some really bad ads. Enjoy the show.
Well, that's right. We're back for a Friday. It's good to be back again. It's been a week, I think, since...
You've had a heck of a week, boss. I can't wait to hear about it.
We'll save some of it for the post show, and I'm naming the post show "You Can't Make This Up," because I don't think we're ever going to get in our new house. But we are back together. We have two guests today. Meredith Mays explains field trials, something I don't think we've ever talked about before, and an author and a listener, Katherine Lyons, stops by to tell us about her book. It's called A Horse for Every Rider, and basically it's a shopping guide to how to buy a new horse, which you don't know anything about. So,
well, I should have read that a couple days ago.
Uh-oh.
I didn't. Yeah. Somebody did some horse shopping. I talked about it on Wednesday. I'll catch you up.
Okay. And we have some really bad ads. For those that asked about how we're doing after the storm, everything's fine. We had about a foot of rain, and I think winds were 50, 60 miles an hour. We did have one tree at our new farm come down across the new fence, and the neighbor took care of it already. And the fence is fine. So thank you to our neighbor who took care of it already. And our Starlink got fried because I forgot to unplug it, and it wasn't plugged into a power supply like a dummy geek I am. So we bought a new Starlink so I could do the show. So that was the extent of our damages. So it wasn't too bad. I also want to say happy 16th anniversary to Horse Radio Network and everybody involved, including you, Jamie. Thanks to everyone, hosts, sponsors, listeners, production teams, and of course, Jennifer, who puts up with me. And a special thanks to Equine Network for believing in us. We started this fiasco. Yesterday was our 16th birthday. We put out the first show. We put the first show out August the 8th, 2008, Helene and I. That was the first Stable Scoop. So hard to believe. It's the longest job I've ever had. So
if you wanted to, could you go back and listen to that episode?
Yes, it's still on the web. It's on the website. Well, actually, I think it's even, if you look up Stable Scoop on any podcast player, that episode's still around. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sure the sound
definitely need to hear that. Oh gosh, do I remember our first couple hundred episodes? Yeah. We had to use this blog talk radio thing,
which is still around, by the way.
And it sounds like AM radio. Like, it was so painful, so painful.
It's one of the reasons we quit doing live, because we still had we couldn't get away from using that crappy system.
The technology was just not there.
No.
Apparently still isn't.
So anyway, that's we're fine. Everything's good. The ponies are fine, and I'll have a little bit of a post show for all of you. This stuff I can't talk about in the regular show. But in the meantime, let's do some daily Whinnies. First, we have several birthdays for auditors: Julie Stoltz, Shelley Billings, Clover Spelkin, Rachel Maluski, and Betty Fay, our friend Betty Fay, who we've met many times. Happy birthday to all of them, and thank Debbie and Joy for filling in. I heard they were good, so...
The cool part is Joy butchered everybody's name, so it was
in my
perfect.
honor. Yes,
in your honor.
I'm
sure.
Excited. It was funny. Jennifer was editing Retired Racehorse today, and she said, "I love to listen to Joy's voice on the air. She does have that kind of. She could do the Sleep Stories podcast too. She has that soothing, just calming voice. So, and you guys hadn't worked together in a while. So
I know, it was like a retired racehorse reunion.
well, I'm
I
glad
was
you
like,
got
that's
to.
so many R's. It's great.
I'm glad you got to.
Well, a couple things happened this week, Glenn. First of all, I made my first ridiculous online order purchase. There was something, I think it was Temu. I don't know. I can't remember. But Chad is like, do not shop with that. And Lucas and I saw something online, and we had to have it. And it's called the human dog bed. And I was like, what could be cooler than a human dog bed? And so
that sounds like an as seen on TV product.
Oh, totally. And so it's a human dog bed. And so it's a dog bed with that's like that fluffy kind of blankety thing. And it's like
I'm
a circle.
at it.
But it's supposed to be like it looks like there's like a small kid laying in it, and there's like a little blanket that matches. And I thought, cool. And Lucas was like, we have to have it. And if you buy something on Temu, they give you like $9 million off your first order. So this is not a commercial. I do not recommend this website, but my son wanted this and I thought it was awesome. So we bought this human dog bed. Oh my God, Glenn. It's so big. It is so Lucas can lay in it, arms up and legs straight. It is ginormous. The box came and it took two of us to lift it up. This is like a human dog mattress. Oh my God, it's fantastic. We kind of had to air it out a little bit. It needed some air. The dogs were like, I'm not touching that. Oh yeah, it has China smell for sure. The dogs were like, I'm not getting on that. And so Lucas slept on the human dog bed with Homer next to him. Homer wouldn't get in. So it didn't take a minute to get the dogs okay with it, but the human loved it. And now Chad's gone, and I sent him a picture, and he's like, his one question is, where the hell are we going to keep that? I'm like, I don't know. We'll solve that problem when it comes. But the cool thing is I have tons of family coming in for Thanksgiving, so I can just put Lucas on the human dog bed.
Well, you've got an exchange student coming. She's going to need some place to sleep.
Fortunately, she has her own room, so she'll be fine. I won't make her sleep on a human dog bed. Oh, good Lord.
God,
but
I just looked it up. There's like 500
big.
Varieties of this, starting at $100 to $1,000.
Yeah, this one was $434, and I got it for $12. So I don't know how that all works. I don't know. You spin the wheel and they keep giving you discounts. It's ridiculous. But I will tell you that I did purchase because if you purchase 5 things, it's this much more discount. This much. I bought all these little cheap things, and don't do it. I don't recommend it.
You're lucky with Temu you even got your product.
I know. I'm like, and I was like, okay, it pays your PayPal, so they can't get my credit card number. I don't know. It seemed really sketch, but this is a really cool, ginormous human dog bed that I got for $12 and free shipping, and it's 900 pounds. So cool. The other thing that happened is I talked on Wednesday. So Taco left on Tuesday. And I was like, I'm sorry, I have 2 empty stalls. What is happening? So I have been tasked with purchasing a horse for the Maytag Mountain Ranch. They need another good, solid trail horse. And I think all the time I've spent there getting to know the owners of the of the ranch and kind of the expectations of the horse. I kind of went about it as a different shopping kind of experience. So I went to look at a horse for them. Let's see, what's today? Friday. I went Wednesday night to look at a horse for them. And do you want to guess where I found the horse for sale?
One of the weird Facebook pages.
You would think that. But the cool thing is, now if somebody's selling a horse on Craigslist, that just means they're old.
You didn't go to Craigslist.
Apparently. I saw that on Craigslist.
Oh my God, you bought a horse on the Craigslist.
And they sent me a video, and I was like, dude, cool. I said, where are you located? Earlsboro. I'm sorry. What is Earlsboro? Where is that? It's in Oklahoma. It's a city in Oklahoma. It's about an hour from here. So I was like, I can drive an hour to go look at this horse. Because I won't go see him unless I get all that I want in the video. And they had all that I wanted in the video. So I'm going through mud and going through trails and loping in an arena and just an all around. He is a 15 2-hand all around, just gentle sorrel quarter horse. So what it looked, and I'm going to Earlsboro, and I don't know where that. And so I have a friend who's tougher than me. So she comes with me. So Ginger and I got in the car and we drove to Earlsboro, Oklahoma. But as I'm getting in the car, getting the trailer hooked up, Chad's like, I'm sorry, where are you going? And I said, I'm going to a place called Earlsboro. And he was like, oh my God, my golf buddy lives in Earlsboro. Why wouldn't he? So I'm like, well, get him on the horn and ask him if he knows this guy that I'm going to look at this horse for. So in case I get murdered, we all know we're all like in the loop here. So I gave a chat. We talked to Todd on the phone, and we're on speaker, and he was like, oh, my wife's going to look at a horse in Earlsboro. Do you know this guy? And says the guy's name. I can't remember. He was like, no, but you don't want to go to Junker Johnny. And I was like, I'm sorry. What did you say? He's like, Junker Johnny. You don't want to go. I hope it's not Junker Johnny. I was like, I'm sorry. What is a Junker Johnny? He's like, he's this boy he's the good old boy out here who he does all sorts of weird stuff with animals and junk. I was like, oh my God.
Is that where you ended up?
I not end up at Junker Johnny's. This is the craziest thing. You guys, I show up at this place in Earlsboro, Oklahoma. It is a nice married couple. They've had this horse since he was 3. He's 11 now, and they raise a bunch of babies. And he's kind of semi-retired and does the horse thing. And she works for a bank. And they were like the most nice, normal people ever. Now, the horse hasn't ever had shoes on and has never had his teeth done or had shots done, but he had a Curry Coggins.
Well, that sounds like your kind of horse.
I know.
Perfect.
I got it on, and he's got the horse straight tied to a fence, and I'm like, okay. And this horse is like sleeping, and so he hops on him, and I'm like, all right, before we go, I got some questions. Like, and one of the questions I always ask, and this is something I always ask, and we're going to talk to somebody who's wrote a book about selling horses here in a minute. One thing I always say is, what's the worst thing about him? Because if they say there's nothing, then they're lying about everything, because every horse has a quirk. So I asked what the worst thing about him is. And he's like, well, and he was like $4,000, not like 10 grand. And all the horses I've been looking at are like $10,000 for just a good old broke quarter horse, sorrel quarter horse. So he's like, well, the problem is, I'm like, here we go. He's like, he don't have no get up and go. Like, you take him in the arena, he don't want to do nothing. He just wants to go slow, and like, you can barely get him to lope. You can get him to lope, but he don't like it. And he was like, he goes out on the trail, and he likes the trails better, but you know what? He'd rather be with other horses out there. He don't like going out alone too much. And I was like, ding, ding. They're all things I would like for this horse that's going to go live at Maytag Ranch. So I ended up riding him, and in Earlsboro, nice, sweet couple, super good people. But the only place they have to ride is in a field with mares and foals. What could possibly go wrong? So I take this horse out, and I didn't know there was mares and foals in this field, mares and foals in the field, until I'm all the way at the back of the field, and all of a sudden the mares and foals decide to go for a run, and they just blast towards me, and I'm sitting on this quarter horse. I don't know anything about this horse, and I'm just like out trail riding. I have my helmet on, and these mares and foals just start charging for us, and I was like, oh, here comes the spot on the show that I'm going to get to talk about. First mare and foal goes by, second mare and foal, third mare and foal. The horse did nothing. He just watched him go by. He just watched him, Glenn. He didn't care. And I was like, sold.
You were getting cash out on the way back.
I'm like, I brought cash with me. I'll take him. I'm not even going to negotiate. This is great.
So what's his name?
So yeah, I don't know.
Oh.
He has one of those, like, really, they gave me his papers, and it's like, Doc's Playboy, Hancock, Billy Butter, kind of thing. So I can't remember. So he doesn't have a name. So my farrier's coming this morning to put shoes on him, and he's here right now. And I texted him, I can't be down there. He's like, I got it. I was like, there's a sorrel quarter horse in there that needs some shoes. And he's like, okay, what's his name? And I go, you name him. And he's like, what? I'm like, no. He doesn't I don't know his name. This is a cowboy. Like, I don't even think he had a name.
His name has to
horse.
be Earl. Came from Earlsboro.
I mean, Earl from Earlsboro. That's pretty good. I might use that.
It's also right beside apparently
farrier-
the Seminole Nation. Earlsboro's right there at the Seminole Nation. So
Yeah. Cool. Well, it wasn't Junker Johnny. And
I think you should call
I told
him
my
Johnny.
farrier he could name him.
I think you should call him Johnny.
Oh my God. It's out of my hands, Glenn. You named the last one. Let him name this one. Okay,
he can have it. Well, congratulations
I
on your...
never get to name my own horses.
On
Everybody
your new
else names my
unnamed
horses.
horse.
Well, he'll be here through September. So he's going to go up to Maytag and at the end of September. I'm teaching a riding clinic here for a week in mid-September. So I'm going to use him for that. And then he's going to go to his new home. So he's just utterly perfect for them. So I'm really excited about finding this guy a ridiculously nice home to go to.
Well, we'll find out our second interview today whether you did a good job and followed the rules for buying a horse.
Yeah, right? I'm in trouble. Don't go to Earlsboro without packing heat.
Our first guest today is Meredith Mays, and she's going to be talking to us about field trials with horses. I've heard of field trials with dogs, but I'd never heard of field trials with horses. So we're gonna learn about that. It's hard for us after doing this show for 14 years to find new things to talk about. Right after we hear from our friends at Kentucky Performance Products.
Frequently asked questions, brought to you by Kentucky Performance Products. Question: my friend was telling me that supplementing with omega-3 fatty acids decreased the level of inflammation in horses with arthritis. Is this true? Answer: yes. There have been several peer-reviewed studies that have shown that supplementation with the omega-3 fatty acids known as EPA and DHA will help support healthy levels of inflammation in the joints. The best source of EPA and DHA is fish oil. We often recommend adding a high-quality omega-3 fatty acid supplement, such as Kentucky Performance Products, contribute to the diet of horses who struggle with joint pain and stiffness. A KPP customer named Sarah recently posted a review sharing her experience with Contribute. She wrote, "I recently swapped my Western dressage and cow horses over to the Joint Armor and Contribute. Astonishing results! My horses are moving beautifully with more impulsion and suspension in their gaits." You can learn more about Contribute and omega-3 fatty acids EPA and DHA at kppusa.com. Got questions about your feeding program? We can help. Email Karen at questions@kppusa.com or call us at 859-873-2974.
Well, hi, Meredith. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, good morning. Thank you for having me.
Where are you located?
I am located in Willow Springs, Missouri currently.
Oh, wow. Okay. So we're talking today about field trials. Now, I knew there were field trials, I think, for hunting dogs, but that's all I know. So tell us what a field trial is and how horses get involved.
So field trialing is basically one person thought they had the biggest and the best bird-finding dog ever, and then they were challenged by somebody else who also thought the same thing. And these dogs are released in competition 2 at a time, and they ended up breeding big running dogs that got to be where they would reach out further in the country. And so it was easier to follow them on horseback rather than walk. And a lot of times in the competitions, they are on state game lands where you're not allowed to have motorized vehicles because they would tear up the ground, tear up the foundation, and perhaps disturb other wildlife. So it was best for them to use horses in doing so. And this has gone back. The beginning of Westminster Dog Show was with English pointers, and the part of the competition was field trialing to show their bird skills.
And it is pointers, right, that you're using for this?
There are so many different breeds of dogs that are in this competition. There are English pointers, English setters, Gordon setters, Irish setters, red and white setters, German short hair pointers, wire hair pointers, Vizslas,
and
Brittany's,
is it judged?
Weimaraners. Yes, sir. It is judged. It is judged on the dog. And so because the dog is what's judged, the best way to show your dog off is to have a horse that is very handy to be able to show your dog off the best. Meaning, if you want me to explain how they do that, I can do that. I just didn't.
Before you do that, so because we are a show about horses and everybody owns horses, it kind of sounds a little bit like fox hunting in a way, right? Because they're following the hounds too, right? But you're doing it in a way where it really focuses on the dog, and you're using the horse to get there. But
correct. The horse is just a tool. Yep.
The tool. Okay. So at any point, does the rider get off the horse, or do you stay on the horse the whole time?
Well, you hope that your dog has a find. So when they release the dogs are in 2 at a time per brace. And there can be, they can cap it off as many dogs as they want. The national event for the AKC dogs is called the National Gun Dog. There were 67 dogs entered altogether, but they go 2 at a time, and it's a timed event. As the dogs are released, each dog has someone that is handling who is on a horse, and each dog is judged by a judge who's on a horse.
Okay.
And then each person running a dog wants to have a scout, and that person is also on horseback. And then if you have people that want to watch, they ride in the gallery. They're usually on horseback also.
It's kind of like fox hunting, actually. Yeah, in a way.
It is kind of. But when the dogs are released, the dogs go out on it's a set course. Everybody has to do the same course. Sometimes there's continual courses, which is basically you just keep on going and you don't have to stop. But when the dogs go on point, the object is to be able to find your dog on point. The handler of the dog will get off of the horse, which is where it's important to have somebody either A, hold the horse, or your horse's ground tie. And then the handler will flush the bird. The dog has to stand steady or stand there and stay. They can't go chase the bird or they're out of competition. The handler then will fire a blank gun to show that the dog is steady to wing and shot. And then the dogs are brought back out on course or set forward to go on course. The handler gets back on the horse and away you go. So it's a little bit like fox hunting, but every time there's a bird find, the handler gets off the horse, flushes the bird, gets back on the horse, and goes.
So they have to be used to gunshots too, obviously. So that's an added obstacle along the way as well. So do you? Jennifer indicated that you use a lot of gaited horses, and I'm assuming that's because they're smooth and just can go forever.
Yes, very much so. And I have seen people use quarter horses, and they end up very sore because you're hitting a pretty good clip. By the rules, you're supposed to stay in a flat walk, which a flat walk is not what a lot of people think if they're not familiar with gaited horses. A flat walk is not a quarter horse, 4-beat, quiet, slow walk. It's kind of a brisk walk. It's not a dog walk. So it's a brisk walk. And because the dogs are going 37, 42 miles an hour. I mean, these dogs are flying. So you've got to want to be able to not keep up right behind them, but you want to be able to find them when they're standing on point, because a horse really can't run down a dog. And the gaited horses, in my opinion, and it's all different breeds. You see out there, you see Pasafinos, you see Rocky Mountains, you see Tennessee Walkers, Missouri Foxtrotters, you see standard breds that are bred for pacing. You see a lot of different breeds of the the gaited horses to do this. Yes, because like you said, A, they're comfortable, and B, I find that they are very dumb in a good way, meaning you don't necessarily see a walking horse that's just going to put its head down and throw you. And I feel that they're very forgiving and very patient. They're not necessarily looking to figure out a way to kill their riders, because the riders, a lot of them are not horse people. They just have the horse as a tool. At a lot of competitions, they also rent horses because some of these people don't have them. So they just show up. I used to wrangle, which is, I'd have people show up at a competition and walk up. And for instance, I had one gentleman, he walked up to me and he's like, I'm 72. I have never been to a field trial and I've never ridden a horse in my life.
Oh my gosh.
I threw up. I did. I just looked at him and I was like, and so you're going to start today? Oh yeah. And I was like, yeah, we try and encourage everybody to be involved, but it's also, there's I don't know. There's a little bit of safety.
Yeah.
You
know,
what
what's-
could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, what
Come
could go
on.
wrong?
I mean, live a little.
72-year-olds' bones don't break easier than everybody else's,
Oh, yeah. So the judges gave me permission to pony him.
Good idea.
So I put a Western saddle on because they usually use a Canadian mounted trooper style saddle.
Oh, yeah.
There's no horn on it. I'm not a fan of those, but that's what a lot of the people use. But I put him in a Western saddle, and the entire time he was losing his stirrups, only because he didn't know how to ride. He kept putting his heels up, and he hung onto the horn and let go of his reins. Now, fortunately for the horse that he was on was like a 20-year-old buggy horse that had been an Amish buggy pacing horse. And I had him shod to where he would be very smooth. And that horse, bless his heart, followed the dog. When the dog stopped, the horse stopped. And it took 4 of us to get him on and off, because you don't have a mounting block out in the middle of a field.
So
you're in the middle of nowhere.
He lived through the experience. That's the key, right?
He lived, and he got a second place ribbon.
Oh, there you go.
And then I told he and his wife that he needed to go take riding lessons or get a new sport, because I was not a fan of having to do this.
My heart can't take it. Okay.
Well, and my thing was, I'm very, very anal retentive over safety. And I mean, I really, really tried very hard to keep everybody safe. And I would take up to 10 horses. They all have their different personalities. And some people knew how to ride, and most didn't. And it was just one of those things where it was like, I'm not doing this. You need to go take riding lessons and learn how to ride. And he did. And I saw him a few times after that, and he did do well. And he's still in the sport today.
Wow. Well, there you go. It's never too late to start.
In the morning. No, don't say that out loud. You don't wake up in the morning and just stretch your arms out and go, hey, I think I'm going to go ride a horse today.
Yeah. In a field trial with guns and dogs.
On 1,500 acres. Yeah, with guns and dogs. I think, let's just go do that.
Where can people find out if there's some in their area? Is there a website to go to?
If they go on to... I know if they look up, and it's a difficult website to navigate, AKC has an events page.
Okay.
If you look at the different events, you can click on the events, and they have like duck diving, conformation, sourcing. They have all kinds of things. If they look up pointing dog breeds,
okay, they
can look up the competitions and then look at their state. And believe it or not, surprisingly, there are a lot more than you realize. I grew up in Butler, Pennsylvania. Yes, it's now an infamous part of the country, 2 blocks away from where the recent incident happened. There were 3 field trial grounds in that area that I never knew existed for 20 years. I didn't know that they had these. But they are everywhere, and people can go get involved. I used to do dog days of summer back in Butler, where we would just have kids come out and learn how to handle bird dogs. And then I taught them, we had a mock field trial. I put them on horses. I, wasn't smart enough to say no, but I like to see them get involved, because this sport doesn't have to die, just because people don't have horses or such.
It's called a field trial, and obviously it's with pointers, so you can check that out, as she said, at the AKC website. Thank you for teaching us something new today.
Oh, you're very welcome, and thank you so much for having me.
All right, thanks, Meredith. Take care.
Well, what hurt me the most was when she kept saying dogs, because I'm so trained in fox hunting to not say the word dogs. You say the word hounds. And she kept saying dogs, and I was like, ugh! Like,
but I don't think
it's not fox hunting. It's not fox hunting.
Okay, but are pointers hounds? Are pointers hounds, Jennifer, or are they dogs? No, she said no, they're dogs. Okay, there we go. So learn something else new today.
The more you know. Well, I got to say, before I get to the ad, I want to tell you how much I appreciate the fact checking that happens in your house, because the house is so small. You can just holler out questions to Jennifer.
We're in the rental.
And she can give us a proper answer.
Actually, this is how we're going to be at the new house, too, really side by side in the spare bedrooms. So.
Oh, again, what could possibly go wrong? As horse owners, we have an unlimited supply of love for our animals, but we tend to underestimate the cost of their vet care. Routine and unexpected expenses can quickly add up, making it hard to keep pace. Wouldn't it feel great to always be prepared with a budget-friendly way to manage these costs? The Care Credit Health and Animal Care Credit Card can give you that financial peace of mind. With flexible financing from Care Credit, you get to carry your horse needs as well as all the pets in your family, and then you can pay them in time over easy monthly payments. You can use Care Credit at more than 25,000 veterinary hospitals that accept the card, and use it to pay for everything from diagnostics and surgery to wellness exams and routine care. Care Credit, it's your card for a lifetime of care. Subject to credit approval. To learn more and apply, visit carecredit.com/horses.
Wow, you read that commercial in one take perfectly.
Thank you so much. One Take Johnny. Yeah, buddy.
Wait, you say that all the time. No, what is that, a movie?
No, it's so stupid. It's so stupid. But I used to have to do like, you know how you see people after baseball games, they're down in the locker room interviewing the players.
Yeah.
And like the players are like, they've just showered and they're getting dressed. And I was like a 20-something-year-old girl, and that was my job. No, I had to. So my radio station needed the audio after it. And I had a guy who was with me, and he did the equipment, and I had to go get sound. So I'm like underneath Turner Field with a microphone interviewing post-show stuff, but
half
also
naked
the
baseball players.
Yes, I have seen a lot of. Yeah, I've seen a lot. But I will tell you, and when there's a girl in there, it's like they don't try. There's no modesty, and they're proud of no modesty. Anyway, but some of them weren't. And I will tell you that I sometimes used to have to get, you ever listen to a radio station and you were like, hi, this is so-and-so, and you're listening to Star 94. It's like you'll have like a celebrity. And so I had to do that with some of the Braves players. And I had this whole script that they would have to read because we were doing like a, children's hospital kind of thing. And so I needed some of the Braves players to read this charitable thing for the radio station. So I had all these players lined up to read it. And I mean, oh my God, it's like, I was like, do you guys know how to read? Like, what is happening? And so none of them could do it. And they're all watching each other, which makes them even more nervous or whatever. I don't know. None of them could read it. And then I gave the script to John Smoltz. And John Smoltz was a starting pitcher, and then he became the closer for the Braves. And he's just an amazingly cool human. And so I give him the script to read. And that dude read that like perfect and didn't stumble, didn't need a cut, nothing. And all the players were around him. And he's kind of like the senior guy in the dugout, And so everybody reads it, and then he goes and he reads it perfect. And everybody was like, dang, that was amazing. He's like, one take Johnny. And he just drops the mic and walks off. And I was like, that's the coolest thing I've ever heard. And so I say it all the time, but nobody has any context why I say it. But it's just in my head as one take Johnny, baby.
Okay,
oh, yeah.
But now all I'm going to have in my head is you in a locker room with naked baseball players. That's what's in my head now.
Yeah, it's really fun when I come up with stories like that to tell my husband. And he's like, why did you pick me? And I'm like, listen, it's a previous life. Now I'm just a girl on a farm, okay? Like, whatever.
And I guarantee you Johnny now owns a string of car dealers.
No, he actually, he commentates. Like, he's the voice of the like basically playoffs. He's super good.
The only one that could read.
Yeah. So he was really good friends with Jeff Foxworthy, and I had to do a lot of stuff with Jeff Foxworthy too. And they were fantastic. And I remember, like, if I would interview one, we would have the other be a fake caller, and they would always prank each other. I actually found the CD of that interview. I should play it. I should bring it to you. Yes, it's hilarious.
We should do that. I'm sure the rights have run out on that by now.
I know, right? Well, it was like I had John Smoltz on, and I was interviewing him, and then Jeff Foxworthy called him. We got to call over the question, and it's like Jeff Fox. One of those. What was one way that went. And do you know what? Both those guys. What John Smoltz's favorite thing to do is when he's not playing baseball or playing golf?
No.
he bought a tractor, and he's like, I just want to drive my tractor and be left alone. And I was like, I love this guy. I just want to drive my tractor.
Drives it around.
I will find that. It's on CD. Can you play a CD?
I can. Yeah, for my computer, I bet.
I'll figure it out. I'll send it to you because it's awesome. That was like back in the radio heyday of Steve and Vicky and me on Star 94 in Atlanta.
Oh, listen,
I'll be horrified. Okay. I'll be horrified to play that.
We got to do that for sure. Well, that's funny. Well, good job on take, Johnny. Well, next up, we have an author, but also, more importantly, she's a longtime listener to the show. Her name is Katherine Lyons, and she's the author of a book called A Horse for Every Rider. Now, Katherine contacted me many months ago and said, I'm writing this book. I know you guys talk about on the show for the last 14 years, you've talked about getting the right horse for the right person, and I know Jamie works on that really hard with all the horses she adopts out. And basically, Katherine wrote a book on how to find the right horse so you don't make the mistakes that we all made, and apparently Katherine made too. Now, Katherine, before we get started, though, there's something even more important than all of that. My wife and I met at the Pennsylvania Renaissance Fair. We took improv classes together, and that's basically how we met. Tell everybody how you met your husband.
Oh, well, same thing. Actually, I was taking some improv classes, and I met him doing the same thing with the same teacher. And, yada, yada, yada. 3 years later, we started dating. So, yeah, and then we were married, another year or so later. But, yeah, he's pretty cool. He's pretty cool, funny guy. And, he was here this morning helping me warm up with some improv games, just kind of loosen me up a little bit.
I love that, Katherine. I love that. I don't know that I've ever met anybody else that met their spouse at improv class. So I love that.
Really?
Yeah, I love all of this about this.
Yeah, no, wasn't looking for that at all, but it was very cool.
We need to get him on the Horse Husband show too, for sure.
For sure.
I'll make a note of that. So, why did you write a book about buying how to buy the right horse for the first time?
I've been in the horse business a long time, and the one thing, I've been in different states, different areas, different genres. The one thing that is pretty common that I hear at almost every barn I go to is stories about people who ended up with a match that just didn't work for whatever reason. And, maybe there's a lot of tools and tricks and things to help, people get the right, get things to work. But lately it seems like I've seen more and more matches that if you could just get it right from the beginning, it would be so much easier. And you hear these horror stories of, horses that, either ran away with their kid, made the child scared to ride right away, or, somebody bought a husband horse and the husband got bucked off in the first week. And it's just, first of all, I've made most of the mistakes that there are to make myself. And then over the years, you just learn little things. And I looked around and I didn't really see anything that was covering this topic pretty significantly. So we were hanging out in the barn one day a few years ago, me and some friends, and somebody said, somebody should write a book. And I'm like, yeah. And then I thought about it one day and I'm like, well, I don't know. Maybe I got some info and yeah. So.
All right, hold on one second, Katherine. She's been listening to this, Jamie. She's been listening to this show for a long time. Do you think she wrote the book because of us? Because we both made these mistakes.
I mean, we've certainly provided plenty of examples of what not to do.
That's true. Do you think that's why she asked me to review it, was because of that?
All I know is I said to Farm Boy when we went to buy Maverick, I was like, hey, come with me. I'll show you how to buy a horse. And when we got back in the truck, I looked at him dead in the eye and I said, never do that. Never, ever do that. So, what could possibly go wrong? Like, it's the theme for today.
Oh yeah. What could go wrong? For sure. I mean, and that's, I found out a lot of things that could go wrong personally. And through
one of the things,
other people's examples. Yeah.
I got a chance to preview the book, and I will say that the one thing, and this is what I think I said for the cover, was that it's so well organized. You have it broken down into very simple chapters. It's in order. It's easy to read for anybody. So if you're not a horse person, you can read this book and really understand what Katherine's talking about. So that's one of the things I really liked about this book. You know, I've seen books in the past that kind of touch on this topic, but they're using all horsey words that only us horse people would know, right? This book is really meant for people who aren't, you know, or for both.
I tried to make it. I tried to make it organized. I have that kind of a brain. It took some doing, switched around quite a bit, but yeah, that was my goal. So, and thank you very much for agreeing to take a look at it. You know, I'm just hoping to help people from the start to avoid those bad connections and, you know, not have to, you know, turn around and resell a horse or end up with a horse that just doesn't work for them. Because, I mean, bottom line, if it's not working for you, it's probably not working for your horse either. And I do truly believe that, you know, horses want to connect with us in some way. And if they're not doing, you know, if they're not doing what we want, or we're not having an acrimonious relationship, they're not happy. And so that connection's always been important to me.
What's the biggest mistake you would say that you learned along the way that people make?
I would say, I mean, overall, you're talking about just in the purchase process. Yep. I would say not asking enough questions or not really asking the right questions about, you know, prospective horses. And so they're missing details that can be pretty crucial in having that relationship work. That's probably the biggest one.
And that's what I was talking about earlier. I was telling Glenn, because I went horse shopping this week. One of the questions I always ask people is, and this to me is such a broad question that I can't wait to hear their answer. I say, what's the worst thing about this horse? And what they tell you can be so telling, because either they go, you know, nothing. I've had people say, there's nothing. And I'm like, okay, you're lying about everything. We're good. Bye-bye. Because every horse has a thing. And so it just depends. Like, you know what? He paws when he eats and it drives me crazy. Or, you know what? He gets a little coldback, or he gets this, or he gets this. And the horse I bought this week, they were like, he just didn't have a lot of get up and go. And I've been wanting to sell him as people can be coming to look at him as a gaming horse and to do play days, and he just didn't have enough. So that's probably the worst thing. And I was like, that's exactly what I'm looking for. So you never know, like the answer that they give you could be the one that you actually like. Their worst thing is somebody else's best thing.
Exactly. Yeah. And that goes to, I mean, I really believe there's no bad horse. It's not that. It's about making the right match and figuring out what, you know, and the second biggest mistake is not really figuring out what you need and what will work in your life. And so I really spent a lot of time talking about that, you know, figuring that out and writing it down and
being honest with yourself in that as well.
But Katherine, he's so pretty. He's just so pretty. Right. I fell in love immediately when I got out of the car. He's so pretty.
How many times have you heard we had a connection? Like, he picked me. I'm like, no, he's probably looking for a cookie. Like,
for sure. Yeah, no, I've done it for sure. I've done it.
I always, you might agree with this. You might not. I always tell kids, I'm like, when we go look for a horse for kids, I'm like, whatever you do not look at his face. Like, don't look at his face. Just look at the horse. We're going to test. Don't look at his face. And immediately, of course, like, you get the kid out of the car and their eyes turn into little heart shapes like a cartoon. And you're like, I lost another one. Told you not to look at his face.
Oh, that's what you should tell people to put a fly mask on before you come. Like,
that's good.
That's brilliant, actually.
Gosh, right. I'm writing that down.
Except they want to sell the horse. So, I mean,
that's true. True.
You know, I like also that you talked about the right questions to ask. Well, in the book, you help people with the right questions, and I like that too. So if you have a friend that's looking for a horse for the first time, or you know a kid, or a family that's in the market for a horse, buy them this book. And it's out now, right? So people can get it?
Yes, it's on Amazon. You just look at A Horse for Every Rider, and you'll find it.
And I'll put a link to it in the show notes, too.
I'm assuming you have a copy of this book, but considering you did one of the blurbs on the back. So I'm going to need you to send that to me next so I can get a list of those questions. It'd be great.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Well, Katherine, we really appreciate you being a listener, and your husband, I know, helps you with Really Bad Ads too, so that's kind of cool. But we appreciate you being a listener, and thank you for writing this book. It's much needed, and I hope you sell a ton of them, and hopefully more people find their right match, the first horse, instead of the 20th. So.
I agree. Thank you guys so much.
All right, Katherine. It's Katherine Lyons. She's the author of A Horse for Every Rider. We'll put a link in the show notes.
Recharge your training program with Equestrian Plus. Equestrian Plus brings together top riders, trainers, and professionals onto one video platform. Watch over 5,000 how-to training videos, clinic and event footage, exclusive training sessions, and more, featuring top experts including 5-time dressage Olympian Stefan Peters, 5-time Olympic show jumper Ann Krasinski, Olympic eventer and silver medalist William Fox Pitt, and more. Join Equestrian Plus now and use promo code HRN15 for 15% off your first month. Visit EquestrianPlusPLUS.com to subscribe.
Well, something else that's going on right now that we haven't talked about at all, and it might be the first year ever, because the Olympics, we're talking about the Olympics. Everybody's watching the Olympics, so watching all the weird sports. I'm watching
pole vaulters in the Olympics.
I watch trampoline. So there you go.
Break dancing is tonight.
Trampoline, oh my God, they get about 50 feet in the air. It's amazing. And I guarantee after they're done with the Olympics, they all go work at Cirque du Soleil. That's the job after the Olympics, I think, for trampoline. By the way,
somebody listening got my pole vaulters.
Yeah, I think they did. I chose to ignore it. So the Mongol Derby's going on right now. We're in day 3. Of course, it's the longest horse race in the world, 1,000 kilometers in Mongolia. Josh Edwards of Texas is actually, there's 3 in the lead right now. Josh Edwards of Texas, he's a cowboy rodeo star. He's a bronc rider. So there's a perfect guy to be doing the Mongol Derby.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, and also apparently he brings the youngsters along for ranch work at the ranch he works at. And, he's been doing the rodeo circuit forever. He's doing very well. He has his big Western cowboy hat on the whole time. He just looks like he's right out of Texas in Mongolia. So he's doing great. These 3 are way ahead of the pack. They're one horse station ahead of everybody else's. That's the stations where they actually switch horses. I think they're 20, 25 kilometers apart. Missy Morgan's also there, South African. She has extensive experience. She actually brings on young thoroughbreds and trains them for polo, dressage, and cattle mustering, which must be wrangling in South African terms. So a lot of South Africans that do the Mongol Derby. And then Sam Jones from Australia, Sam is a female, and she was a champion 10 years ago in 2014, and she's in the lead pack. If she wins, she'll be the first person ever to claim the crown twice.
That's awesome. Go Sam!
Yeah, she's experienced at breaking and competing endurance horses back home in Australia, so she's also suited to this task. And then everybody else is in the pack. There's a father-daughter duo in there, I think, from the UK. Some interesting stories of people in there, one old guy like me. So a lot going on over there at the Mongol Derby. But now it's time for this.
If you ain't met one by now, you're bound to sooner or later. He says one thing and he means another, but hey, he can't help it. He's a horse trader. Horse trading. Well, it's a laissez-faire. Let the buyer beware. Horse trading. They tell a low-down lie with a sincere stare. Horse trading. Well, if they're talking in circles and the deal ain't square, he's a master in the fine art of persuading. Horse trading.
That's right. It's time for Really Bad Ads, that time of the week when we read some listener-submitted ads, either from Facebook or Craigslist. You know, not everybody else has the success that apparently Jamie does off of Craigslist. So, well, we'll find out in time, I guess. But we usually give away prizes, and we do give away prizes, but I just don't have them yet for this month. We will. So anybody that submitted this week,
running.
yeah, you'll be in with us. There's a bunch of people we won't get to this week. Why don't you tell us who they are?
Jolyn, Andrew, Janelle, Jolene, and Sid all are entered, but we just won't get to them. But the first one comes from Rachel. And if I was younger, this horse would be mine. All right, it says, putting feelers out there. I have a very talented imported 7-year-old 17-hand Belgian warm blood with terrific breeding. Unfortunately, he's a big handful and a big bucker. He's been lunged, but mostly he's sat because no one else wants to ride him. If you're brave and good with a difficult horse, this could be your horse of a lifetime. PM for Dietz. And there's a picture of him jumping like in an indoor, and they've got the jump set at the very top of the standards, which is typically around 4.3, 4.6. And this horse is free jumping over it and clearing it by 2.5 feet. I mean, it's incredible.
Huge. It's huge. And tucked front legs, perfect. Everything's perfect.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful form. Well done.
You can't ride him, which is why he's free jumping. But I mean, there's that.
You can see it. You can see the talent. Can you imagine, like, you import a horse from across the world and you get him and it's a complete disaster? I mean, talk about mess. Like, I mean, I got Taco and he was shorter than I thought he was going to be. And I was like, dang it. You know, imagine if, like, you buy a horse sight unseen from Europe and pay $10,000, $12,000 to ship it. And then it's going to kill you
after paying $100,000 to buy it. So, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's 17 hand. When they're bucking at 17 hands, it's a long way down.
It's a long way down. Yep. Like I said, if I was younger, maybe.
Caitlin sent this one in. It's very short. It looks Craigslist, maybe? I don't know. It's an ad, and it has a picture of a paint.
It's a Facebook ad. Oh, yeah.
Maybe a pony or a horse. I can't tell from the picture. 10 years old tennis walker for sale. Nice. Let me do this again because it's like really bad. 10 years old tennis walker for sale. Nice for kids, woman, any body. For info inbox.
Oh my God. By the way, it looks like it says nice for kids, woman, any body.
Anybody.
That's 2 words. Like, that's terrible.
It's a paint.
And he does look like a little taco.
Who looks
just like him.
That face, though, has an attitude. That's an attitude right there.
That's grumpy taco face. It's, yes. I want it. You guys, I told you to, in the screenshot, please include the Facebook page it comes from.
I found out a secret. They do, and Jennifer cuts them out so you won't call
Come
them.
on, so. Jen! It is a Tennessee Walker. I don't know. Maybe she took it out because she's going to go buy it.
Oh, maybe. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It does look pretty small, though. All right. Faye sent the next one in. I can't believe it's your wife that's cutting this off. Looking for low carrot, or a horse you are willing to trade for. You know, I got some extra of going. I'm looking for a horse for 3 carrots, or a horse you are willing to trade for puppies, dog training, or furniture.
We don't care. Any furniture.
I have too much dogs and furniture.
Recliner, daybed, I don't care.
I don't care.
Whatever.
Doesn't have to be broke. Colt or filly. Looking for something I can mess with daily and ride eventually. Color and papers don't matter. Breed don't matter either. Can be gated, but doesn't have to be.
I don't care what it is. Just send it over.
Just take the dogs and the furniture and leave the horse.
Debbie sent this one in. This is in Vale, Oregon. Run cow cross, champion cutter, Laker dock, and dash for perks. Number 3.
Hey, that's the horse I just bought.
Dash for Perks.
Lake Doc Dash for Perks, Playboy Noodle Butter, like whatever.
Number 3, sire of money earners in excess of 1 million. Number 2, sire of 500,000 plus barrel earners. Sire if all-purpose earnings in excess of 3 million. I don't understand any of that. What does that mean?
But you can rest assured that they got some really good photos of some foals, including one from the back that is just only butt, and the horse is switching its tail, so it looks like its tail is like, I don't know, broken. Good job. Good ad.
Are any of these, are these all the same horse, or are they all different? I can't tell. I don't
continues
know.
to be assignment completed. Really bad ad. Lily sent the next one in, and this is a horse trailer for the whopping total of $100 in Utah. Now, when you see this trailer, Utah is not the place I would think, because I would assume it would get 9 feet of snow inside it because it has 0 roof. The ad says conditioned. The condition used - poor, significant wear. That's accurate, because it is one of those like chariot horse trailers.
Like a chariot. Like if you were a tall basketball player, you could ride in it, and your head would stick out the top.
Description is can hold 2 horses. Not true. It's been sitting for a long time and would be a project, but it's heavy-duty steel with a heavy-duty axle, asking $100. That might be an appropriate amount for you to pay somebody to come and get it, but otherwise, so it's a steel all the way around, but it's like wood paneling on the sides, which literally you can see directly through. I mean,
not only that, somebody's got to move the auger and the disc and all the other farm equipment out of the way to get to it. That's the other thing.
Is that a bucket underneath it in front of the cinder blocks?
I think it's holding the trailer up.
All the PVC poles and the giant auger. And I mean, yeah, sure.
So if you have a Jolly Green Giant in your family, this is a perfect chariot. It'll be God. Hook it up to that large horse above the bucks. You know what? You don't have to worry about it if you're driving it. All right.
Or the one that free jumps so high, you can jump right out. So be careful.
Exactly. Marie sent this one in. And she's from up north, Michigan, so maybe it's up that way somewhere. Looking for my 13-year-old daughter's first horse. You need a book. I advise you to buy the book above. She is going on her 4th year of lessons and doing well, taking an interest in showing. Also wondering if there's someone with a good fit for her that may be interested in a... Let me try that sentence again. Also wondering if there's someone with a good fit for her that may be interested in getting into alpacas. I have some willing to barter. So she wants to trade an alpaca for a horse. That's what it is.
Picture is hilarious.
Oh, they're cute.
It's like a bunch of alpacas staring through a door.
Alpacas always look like they just don't understand what's going on. They're just looking at you.
Well, yeah, they just look, and then people shave their necks, and they just look ridiculous.
But I really want that baby alpaca. It's really cute.
The problem is they turn into big alpacas, and they're cute. I don't know what to do with them. Melinda sent this one in. This reads like everything is a different line, okay? And every new line begins with a dash. So, ISO barrel project or just a project in general. Requirements. - under 5. - over 15 hands. - color doesn't matter, but I like chestnuts, palominos, blacks, roans, and grays.
Well, that just about covers it.
Is there any other color? - the younger the better, but I would rather it be younger. - stocky. - has speed. - we'll look at mares, colts, and a gelding. Just one gelding, though. - I like the spicy ones. - registered. - I'm in Piketon, Ohio.
I like how we'll look at mares, colts, and geldings. Again, is there anything else?
I mean, I guess doesn't want a stud. You could just maybe
Isn't a
say
colt
that.
Technically a stud?
That's true. I don't want any of your
I'm overanalyzing the ads.
horses.
I apologize.
Yeah, it's too much.
Sorry. Richard sent this one in. Gorgeous 13-year-old gelding for sale. This one has punctuation, thank God. Let me start off by saying the only reason he's got this far are his good looks. This one is not for the faint of heart. If you want to try to be a cowboy, this is definitely now your chance. He has a gorgeous color everyone pays for. He respects fences. He gets along great with other horses. He's cute as a button. Again, pretty. Oh, he's so pretty. He will remind you to pay attention to your health insurance on time. If you're looking for the next $1 million Mustang project, he is your man. Don't miss out on this amazing opportunity to create potentially viral horse training videos. That's what everybody wants. Free bottle of tequila with purchase. You will need it. Only very experienced in Sugar Creek, Ohio. We have a lot coming out of Ohio today.
Ohio's winning. Ohio's winning. Carl sent this one in. Horse stalls and 5 acres, lot of grass to eat up. Oh, this is Bradenton. That's in Florida, Glenn.
Yes,
is that
it is
close
right
to
down
you?
the street from me. That's right.
Well, here you go. You should have just done this. Horse stalls and 5 acres, lot of grass to eat up. $100. I have 10 acres and I have 5 stalls that I'm renting out. So if you, the letter U, want to rent the land or this, there's no punctuation. And all these numbers that I'm reading are the actual number. Like, okay. I have 10 acres and I have 5 stalls that I'm renting out. So if you want to rent the land or these stalls, and you can put a trailer here. So if you want to know anything, call or text me. I'm Sam. Hi, Sam.
All of that for $100? That's cheap. 10 acres and 5 stalls for $100. I would have taken that. Especially now, I would have taken that. Holly sent the next one. I think the theme today, there's always a theme with these ads, and the theme today is it's impossible for us to even read them. It's just so hard. Holly sent this one in. Mini horse for sale, $350 in Sarasota, Florida. Florida well represented with Ohio today. I have a mini horse not, again, no punctuation. What the hell? I have a mini horse not broke, needs to be teached, but doesn't run if you approach him. Well, that's good. I'm glad
that's good.
$350. You can have that in Sarasota. I'll call Wendy. She needs one of these, I think.
He does need to be teached.
He does need to be teached, yep. And
just
I'm
make
not
sure
how old he is because she doesn't say. Or even whether
doesn't know.
It's a boy or a girl, actually, come to think about it. So I don't know. But thank you, Holly, for sending that in. We really appreciate it. And thank you all for sending your ads in. You send them in to Jennifer at horseradionetwork.com. Get them in for next week. Jennifer really wants you to do a screenshot of the ad and send it in that way so she can cut off the contact information so Jamie doesn't call them all.
Listen, I would like for you to tell your wife the problem is she's taking all of the where the locations away, and what if there need certain particular accents? Okay, tell her to stop doing that.
Okay, I'll tell her to stop. But do that because sometimes you send ads that are on pages she doesn't belong to, or the ad's gone. So that's the best way to do it. Jennifer at horseradionetwork.com. That'd be email, everybody. You remember how to use that. So do it that way. And that's it for this week's shows. I had an easy week as far as shows go. I did one. So thank you, Jamie, for doing all of them. I really appreciate that. And again,
my pleasure.
And thank you also, because you know what? You weren't there for the whole 16, but you've been there for almost 15. So I really do appreciate you. And thank you for doing the shows all these years.
We're about to hit 3,500 episodes, dude. That's crazy.
I know. That's just nuts. It's just because we're too stubborn to quit is really what it is. Hold on, auditors, because I have a tale to tell you coming up after this.
Spay, neuter, and geld.
Or not. You know what? Apparently people will buy anything, so.
It'll be fine.
It doesn't matter.
I just want a mare, a colt, or a gelding.
Yep.
Nothing else.
And I want it in chestnut, or, you know.